Does a soldier's homecoming always end happily? What if the war has changed him so much that even the home he knew feels foreign? The story I'm about to tell you today is about a true hero's journey back home and shows that sometimes the hardest battle is fought at home. You can also send your similar stories to the email address found in the description.
My name is John Mitchell. When I opened my eyes in a hospital in Belgium on a cold January day in 1945, I realized that my right leg below the knee was gone. I still vividly remember the moment when a German rocket found me during the final days of the Battle of the Bulge. That damned forest where the smell of blood and gunpowder mixed under the falling snow was now in the past. Now I faced a different kind of war. I knew that my wife Sarah was waiting for me in Millfield, a small town in Ohio. Our home was that white wooden house at the end of Main Street, with the rose bushes Sarah had planted in the garden and the swing I had made for my 7-year-old daughter Emily. Before going to war, I had built that swing for her and promised, when Daddy comes back, we'll swing together. Now, I didn't even know how I would climb onto that swing. During the 3 months I spent in the hospital, physical therapist Nurse Margaret tried to teach me how to walk again. Margaret was a strong woman from Detroit. She had also lost her husband in the Pacific. "John," she would say to me, "that leg may be gone, but you're still walking around here. When you return to your family, let this be what you show them." When I took my first step with crutches, I still felt pain where my foot wasn't. The doctors called this phantom pain. At night, I would wake up feeling an itch in my missing foot. In the mornings, I would look out the window at the snow-covered hills of Ohio and remember the songs Sarah would hum while preparing morning coffee in the kitchen. Sarah's letters came every week, lines written on thin, pink paper, scented with lavender. They always began with "Dear John," and continued, "Emily showed your photo to her friends at school today. Her teacher, Mrs. Henderson, said how brave a father she has. The roses in the garden bloomed beautifully this year. I'm saving the most beautiful ones for you." But between the lines of the letters, I read the unwritten worries, the silence that followed the question, "How is your leg healing?" The hidden desperation in the sentence, "Emily sometimes cries at night." Sarah was a strong woman, but I could read her fears between the lines. During my last week in the hospital, I had an unexpected visitor. Tom Anderson, our next-door neighbor and also a World War I veteran. He was now in his 60s. His hair had turned white, and his hands trembled from tremor disease. When I went to hug him, I heard my own trembling voice. "Tom, how did you get here?" Tom smiled. "Son, I was once in your shoes. In 1918, a piece of shrapnel took my left eye in France. When I returned home, my wife Grace didn't recognize me. Not physically, but spiritually, she was completely different. Let me tell you something, John. Coming home is harder than fighting." His words broke something inside me. "Tom, what if Emily is afraid of me? What if Sarah doesn't love me the same way anymore?" Tom put his hand on my shoulder. "Son, family love is stronger than war. You just need to be patient. With yourself and with them." In April 1945, feeling the first breaths of spring air within me, I set off for Ohio. The train journey took 12 hours. Looking out the window, I saw those green fields in America's heartland, small farms, church steeples. Every mile brought me closer to home. But at the same time, my fears grew. When I heard the train approaching Millfield Station, my heart began to flutter in my chest. I grasped my crutches and stood up. I looked at myself reflected in the glass pieces. Gray uniform, thin face, one leg. Was this me? Was this the man Sarah loved? The moment I saw Sarah at the station, I felt time stop. Her blue flowered dress, her blonde hair shining in the sunlight. Next to her was Emily, holding a bouquet of flowers with her small hands. standing like a princess in her pink dress. But the momentary surprise I saw in both their eyes, the fearful curiosity, wounded me deeply. Sarah ran toward me. "John!" she cried and threw herself into my arms. Emily, however, remained shy and stayed behind. This hurt me more because my daughter no longer recognized me. 3 years was too long a time for her. "Hello, beautiful," I said to Emily. "I'm your father." My voice was trembling. Emily hid behind Sarah. Our house smelled the same. Sarah's apple pie, lavender soap, and that familiar home comfort. But I was no longer the same. I struggled climbing the stairs. Sarah tried to help, but I turned her away, saying, "I can do it." My male pride was still wounded. That night, lying next to Sarah in bed, I felt her crying silently. "What are you thinking about?" I asked. "I missed you, John, but you're different. That light I used to see in your eyes is gone." She was right. The war had taken something from me. Not just my leg, but the innocent part of me. Now I woke up at night from bomb sounds and jumped at the smallest noise during the day. The next day, I decided to talk to Emily. I went to the swing in the garden. My daughter was playing there, but when she saw me, she prepared to run to the house. "Emily, wait," I said. "I want to show you something." I took out the small wooden toy horse from my pocket and handed it to her. "I made this for you in Europe. While thinking of you at night, I shaped it with my hands." Emily approached curiously. "Is it really for me?" "Yes, beautiful. You're my little princess. I thought of you every day while I was at war." At that moment, something softened in Emily's eyes. "Daddy, what happened to your leg?" "I was injured while fighting bad men. But what's important is that I came home to be with you." As weeks passed, I had to return to social life. Millfield was a small town. Everyone knew each other. While walking on Main Street, I felt people's stares. Some were pitying, some curious, and some uncomfortable looks. When I went to Joe's Diner for coffee, I encountered my old friends. Bob Williams, Charlie Davis, both had not gone to war. They were farmers. They had stayed home. They didn't know how to behave when sitting next to me. "John, how are you, buddy?" said Bob, avoiding looking at my leg. "I'm fine, Bob. I'm living, you know." "How was the war?" "I mean, what you can tell." Something boiled inside me. How could I tell them? My friends dying in my arms. The bullets that barely missed while lying in the mud? The hunger? The fear? "It was tough," I said simply. "But it's over." Before the war, I worked at the furniture factory in town. I was known as a skilled carpenter. Now I wanted to return to work, but using heavy machinery with one leg was impossible. Factory manager Mr. Peterson called me in. "John, it's great to see you among us again. But you know, factory work requires physical strength." "I understand, sir. Maybe I could work in the accounting department?" "We don't need an accountant, but maybe we can find something in warehouse work." My pride was broken. Warehouse work meant a position far below what I used to do, but I had to accept it for my family's livelihood. Sarah had her own battle, too. I often noticed her pausing while talking to neighboring women. Mrs. Henderson, Emily's teacher, had said to her, "Sarah, John's condition is affecting Emily. Maybe you should seek professional help." When I heard these words, my heart sank. I knew what she meant by professional help. She meant the mental hospital. Many soldiers returning from war had been sent there. "Sarah," I said to her, "what do you think? Do you really think I've gone crazy?" Sarah started crying. "No, John, but you're different. You talk in your sleep at night. You scream. Emily is scared." She was right. At night, I returned to the Ardennes forest. In my dreams, German soldiers were invading our garden, trying to kidnap Emily. When I woke up, I found myself drenched in sweat, ready for battle. Once I had mistaken Sarah for the enemy and jumped on her. I had frightened her. "John," she had said to me the next morning, "maybe you should talk to a doctor." What will the doctor tell me? Will my leg grow back? Will my dreams stop? But we can't live like this. Emily needs a father too, not a wounded soldier. These words wounded me deeply. But she was right. I was no longer the husband I used to be, the father I used to be. At this point, Tom Anderson appeared in my life again. One day, while I was trying to work in the garden, of course, it was an effort that ended in failure, he came to me. "John, I've been watching you. You're tearing yourself apart." "What do you expect me to do, Tom? Act like nothing happened?" "No, but you shouldn't live in your pain. I want to show you something." Tom took me to the small lake at the edge of town. He was fishing there. "You know, John, when I returned from war, I was afraid to even touch Grace. My hands smelled of blood to me. But in time, in time, that smell went away." "How?" "Gradually. By forgiving myself. By learning to love my family again. You'll learn too." The most important turning point in my recovery process was a small accident that happened to Emily. My daughter fell from the swing while playing in the garden and hurt her knee. She ran home crying, but Sarah wasn't there at the time. "Daddy!" she cried and threw herself into my arms. At that moment, I realized that my daughter still saw me as her father. Even in my wounded state, I was the person she felt protected by. While cleaning her wound, she asked, "Daddy, you suffered a lot too, didn't you?" "Yes, beautiful, but I'm healing now. Can I take care of your wound too?" At that moment, we both cried. Emily put her small hands on my prosthetic leg. "Doesn't it hurt anymore?" "It still hurts a little, but I can bear it as long as you're with me." After this incident, something changed between Sarah and me too. When we went to bed that night, she said, "John, forgive me. I expected too much from you, but I forgot that you're suffering too." "I ask for your forgiveness too, Sarah. The war changed me, but my love for you hasn't changed. I just need to learn how to love again." After this incident, something changed between Sarah and me too. When we went to bed that night, she said, "John, forgive me. I expected too much from you, but I forgot that you're suffering too." "I ask for your forgiveness too, Sarah. The war changed me, but my love for you hasn't changed. I just need to learn how to love again." That night we talked for a long time. I shared my war memories with her. I told her about my fears, my losses, my feelings of guilt. Sarah also told me about the difficulties she experienced at home. Emily's nightmares, the neighbors' strange looks, financial troubles. That night we talked for a long time. I shared my war memories with her. I told her about my fears, my losses, my feelings of guilt. Sarah also told me about the difficulties she experienced at home. Emily's nightmares, the neighbors' strange looks, financial troubles. Over time, our life fell into a new rhythm. In the mornings, we would prepare Emily for school and have breakfast together. At noon, I would work in the warehouse, and in the evenings, we would spend time as a family. On weekends, I would go fishing with Tom. Sarah would water roses in the garden, and I would try to help her with one leg. One day, Emily asked me, "Daddy, can you fix the swing?" "Of course, beautiful, but you have to help me." We fixed the swing together. Emily held the nails while I hammered. When we finished, she asked, "Can we swing together now?" "Of course." We both got on that swing. Emily's laughter filled the garden. Sarah was watching us from the kitchen window with happy tears in her eyes. As months passed, people in town began to get used to me too. Betty, the waitress at Joe's Diner, always reserved the best table for me. "John, I made special coffee for you," she would say. Small children were initially afraid of my prosthetic leg, but over time they became curious. One day, Emily's friend Tommy asked, "Uncle, how does this leg work?" Come here, Tommy. Let me show you. I took off the prosthetic and showed how it was attached. The children watched as if mesmerized. Amazing, said Tommy. You're a real superhero. Today, it's the end of 1946. It's been 2 years since I returned from war. My dreams are no longer so frightening. When Emily goes to school, she hugs me and says, Daddy, come home early today. The worry in Sarah's eyes has given way to peace. Recently, factory manager Mr. Peterson came to me. John, we want you to work in the design department. There are new projects. We need someone experienced. This meant a new beginning for me, not just at work, but in life too. Uncle Tom, that's what Emily calls him now, came to us last week. John, I came to see you. I can see that old light in your eyes again. Thank you, Tom, if you hadn't been there. Son, you stood up with your own strength. I just showed the way. The war had changed me. That was true. But change didn't always mean loss. Sometimes a person emerged stronger from their experiences. Family love, friendship, social support, and most importantly, learning to forgive oneself. These were the forces that lifted me up. Today, I kept the promise I made to Emily when making the swing. We swing together. Her laughter, Sarah's song coming from the kitchen, and Tom calling, Hello, John. From the garden gate, this is my new post-war America. Coming home wasn't just arriving at a place. It was rediscovering yourself, learning to love, and allowing wounds to heal. I was no longer just John Mitchell. I was John Mitchell, war veteran, husband, father, and a man who had managed to survive. And I know there are thousands of soldiers walking the same path as me. We all returned with different wounds, but we were all welcomed with the same love. America's true strength lies not in battlefields, but in our homes, our families, and the compassion we show each other. This is my story. Not a soldier's story, but a human story. The war is over, but life continues. And sometimes the most beautiful victories are won in the quietest battles.